translated the region for each genes, because in this case we would like to study the mRNA stability. We go to predict mRNA regulatory signal in the 3' UTR of mRNA, and then we check the fold of 3' UTR domain containing the signal. As you can see, we start from functional and we arrive to the structural. Because it is the top-down is the better way. Otherwise, you cannot have enough information about the structure that could be easily correlated with the previous, functional information. The last step is the docking with chemical that I will show before. Okay. We start with the Affymetrix Smyrna chip 3.0 that biology, biotechnology know so well, and the standard exploratory data analysis is performed by tools, sometimes many, that are often associated with the chip. You can have the chip, you can have also the software to manage it. This kind of software you can change something, but you cannot change all the parameters. Then, for instance, the number, okay, I don't remember now, but I do not know if you change the initialization, you can change some clustering parameter. On the other side, the heat map and the clustering process given by software is not often validated. Then you have the heat map as descriptive result for your purpose, but it's not clear if this kind of space configuration of cluster is the best or not. Okay, now you can see how many isoforms a genes can have more than one form that is called isoform, and we have different isoforms for many genes. What is the meaning of an isoform in terms of exposome? Roughly speaking, having an isoform can modify the susceptibility of a subject to a specific pollutants or blend of pollutants. Then you can see the list, only one isoforms, 2 or 3 different isoforms, more than 10. As you, in terms of machine learning, and if we come back to the Professor Zardani lesson, each is possible have in some way to classify an mRNA according to the number of its isoform. That is another item that can help the classification. You can see here there is a solute carrier 5A5, or for instance FOX1 or other genes that are reported using their specific acronyms. It's interesting to see that 2 genes seem to have more than 10 isoforms. More than 10 isoforms suggests that you must be careful in the classification, because the sensitivity, the response to a specific pollutants in the exposome can be very, very different. Okay, this is another application that we have performed in terms to integration of functional genomics and structural genomics. In this case, there is not functional integration. There is a socio-economical integration and structural genomics. We skip the genomic because in this case we start with data that coming from a public administration, the regional government of my, the government of my region, and has been the object of a big project with the health department in order to study the molecular impact of drugs, of illicit substance on subjects. What happens? What this slide show? First, show one of the problems, the citizen code. In the root of this slide, the citizen code is a problem because we are on the border to violate the privacy. Because behind the citizen code there is my health, your health, and so on. Then the problem to perform this kind of analysis was to find a way to obtain the clinical data. It will happen to me, could happen in India, in UK, or what you want, in order to anonymize the information. It's not complex, because but you need to have a strong interaction with the database manager of the repository of the health data, in order to have the description of cause and in order to anonymize the patients. The second is the anographical data that the citizen code allows to obtain anographical data, administrative public health structure. If the subject is accepted in a hospital, excluded psychiatric hospital. For instance, if an addicted patient subject has HIV go in this way. But the psychiatric treatment, almost in my country, is performed by mental disease department. Then you have, at the same time, two different diagnostic records. One coming from the hospital, blood screening or urine screening or hair screening, and the other is a pure psychiatric diagnosis that always, in some cases, can be by imaging, and in many cases textual. The other information is a type of substance, frequencies of use, and some biochemical testing. As you can, in terms of machine learning, you can see here how many items do you attempt to associate. And in terms of hospital, we have wet lab biochemical screening and infectological screening, psychiatric and psychological data, and pharmacological therapies. Then more or less we can consider 20 items that must be associated. Okay, you can see in this case is the role of role of environments in the addiction. Is only descriptive. It's not a big problem about this. The role of genetic in addiction is appeared in the last 15-20 years. Now, the screening, many studies have demonstrated that single point mutations, SNPs, are capable to modify the susceptibility of a subject to a specific illicit substance, or other variations are capable to increase the adverse effect. I do not know in India, but in Europe there are many young guys that die for new smart drugs after a rave party. The new synthetic drugs can act at the level, at the individual level, or a specific variation that normally is masked by in normal life, but the action of a high dose of this substance can determine the death of the subject. Then the several genes seems to be related to the neurotransmission that would be really plausible from the effect of neurotropic substances. The interaction between genetic and environmental factor is another problem. For instance, I do not know here, but the cannabis is different. The addiction to the cannabis and the effect of THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, on subject, on a specific environmental context, is different in another environmental context. But interesting, the more interesting is the last point. The genome-wide association studies have underlined the role of these genes in alcohol dependence. Then is in some way is a rule. If, for instance, ADH1C is overexpressed, you have a high dependency on alcohol. Okay, it's only the idea that is a established knowledge, not what kind of dependency. And but they have genome-wide. Then it's confirmed by several studies, high-throughput studies, that allow to use this approach, these genes or this disease as element to test alternative data mining systems. Okay, now I will show what is the situation. What are the substances used into the screening, the in silico screening. You can see here we are using amphetamines, benzodiazepine, crack, cocaine, heroin, morphine, alcohol, nicotine, steroids, and tetrahydrocannabinol. Nicotine is smoke, and you can consider that a single subject is not exposed to the cocaine only, but he can drink spirit, he can smoke, and he can, in addition, there are other things with food or with water or with what we want. It's interesting only that benzodiazepine are considered in both columns, because benzodiazepine are the basic compound for many drugs, antidepressive, or what you want. You can see the drugs are methadone, that is used to rescue addicted people from dependence, or there are antidepressants. Naloxone is another substance used to rescue an addicted patient. But now we lay in what we want to do is this. Okay, mining the databases, we have correlate the number of genes that are. This is the intersection set between the genes altered by cocaine and the genes altered by ethanol. We have a this list show how many metabolic pathways are altered by a combination of genes. The first line is cocaine against ethanol and against benzodiazepine and amphetamines. The second is the benzodiazepine against ethanol, against cocaine and amphetamines. The genes marked by blue indicate common items between the two elements. Okay? In terms of machine learning, you can create a string database about the genes. You can, in some way, to link some statistical measure, such as expression or what you want. You can link it to a